The New South Wales team, number 1, fullback Gary Jack. Number 5, a welcome return to representative football to the Parramatta steam train, Big Eric Growth. Number 3, making his debut at last in the New South Wales team, Andrew Farah. Number 6, the fella on whom all eyes rest, Terry Lamb, with the man-sized job of containing Queensland's wizard Wally Lewis. Number 7, little Stevie Wonder, Steve Mortimer. In the forwards, the newcomers, number 11, Peter Tunks in the front row, and the Panthers, Royce Simmons, number 12, doing the hooking. And the Queensland team, number 1, Colin Scott. Number 2, 3 tries in the first State of Origin game, Kerry Bowstead. Then the big fellas, 3 giants, Close, Miles and Meninga. Tonight, Meninga out on the wing. Number 6, Wally Lewis. The Queensland pack, no positional changes from the first State of Origin game. The only difference being hooker Greg Canescu has 1 less tooth, having had it knocked out here in the first test against the Poms. Your commentator, Ian Maurice.
Thank you, Michael. And, well, the drama is really in the air here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Do or die now for New South Wales. And atrocious conditions. The fans have certainly come out in force. And they've come here to support the New South Wales side. But really, the conditions, as Mike Gibson said, very similar to last year. In fact, the whole series so far is taking on a remarkable similarity to last year, and Arthur Beetson smiling now. I wonder if he'll be smiling at the end of the game. But you'll recall last year in the first match, Queensland won quite convincingly at Lang Park. They came to Sydney. New South Wales made a number of changes to the side last year and turned the tables in very wet conditions, just as we have tonight. I wonder, will history repeat itself? The referee, Barry Gomersall, a controversial figure. His first match at the Sydney Cricket Ground. We're underway in the State of Origin match number 2. And this is Colin Scott. Getting to the corner line before he's put down by Farah. Gene Miles is looking to kick, but the New South Wales defence swarming in, and it's already on. Punches being thrown from everybody. That's Chris Close in there. Brett Kenny's involved as well. On the ground is Brent Canescu. Ray Price, all trading blows. Well, Jack Gibson, what an explosive start to this match.
Well, they advertised it early in the week, this situation would happen.
Well, the referee's allowed it to go on. Chris Close has lost his jumper. Fireworks falling from the sky. What a start to this State of Origin match. Barry Gomersall has often been quoted as saying that he's here to referee the game, not a fight. But who's going to stop the fight? Well, they finally restored some law and order. Well, what an explosive start in more ways than one.
It surprises nobody.
Oh, boy. I don't think there was a player on the ground not involved in that fight. Never seen anything like that, Darryl Eastlake.
Well, Ian, I'm amazed that Gomersall, he's just stood back and let him go, as he did in Brisbane in the National Panasonic game, and he's done it again here today. He's let him punch it out. Chris Close lost his jumper. We've said it's World War III, and boy, they haven't let us down.
Well, the penalty's been given to Queensland, and the penalty was given, I must admit, before the fight broke out. But I wonder if that's calmed things down at all, Jack.
Well, again, everybody loses. Queensland, New South Wales, and the game.
Boy. Well, now the rain continues to fall down as Gene Miles takes the tap kick and immediately kicking. Gary Jack there for it, and straight down his throat. Jack immediately caught though by Canescu and Niebling. Play situated 40 metres out from the New South Wales line. This is Royce Simmons. What an initiation for him into interstate football. One of 2 New South Wales players making their state debut. There's the other fellow now kicking, Andrew Farah. That's back for Colin Scott. 35 metres out from his own line. Can't beat the tackle of Terry Lamb, and Brett Kenny punks in there as well to assist. And another penalty to Queensland. And Canescu wants to go on with it, pushing and shoving. Peter Tunks asks the question, what's that all about? I'm not sure that he got an answer, but the replay shows that he certainly had a swinging arm in the tackle. The referee Gomersall now trying to exert some authority out there.
Well, Tunst's action wasn't necessary in that play. The player was stopped. He came in seconds later.
So, Canescu now with the tap. Dave Brown straight into the New South Wales forwards. This was a fine run from Dowling. Beat one. They're now 35 metres out from the New South Wales line. Here's Lewis. Coming twice. Finally caught, but still able to slip the ball away to Scott. Wrestle to the ground. Now it's back with Fullerton Smith. Lewis on the blind side. Miles with the bomb. Straight up in the air. In fact, it may have gone backwards a little bit. Touched by Queensland. Kicked back now for Paul Horton, but immediately put down by Andrew Farrar. And when he is put down, he's 10 metres inside the New South Wales half. No score in an explosive opening to this State of Origin match. Last tackle signal for Queensland. And still punches being thrown. Referee stepping in, and another penalty has gone to Queensland. This time it's against Steve Roach. Watch it with us as we see what this one's all about. Roach number 13. Watch for an illegality in here. Well, a bit of a wrestle. And obviously Canescu objected to something that went on.
Well,
so, first opportunity for Queensland to put points on the board. Al Meninga, who has been moved out to the wing for this match, played the first match in Brisbane as a centre, but Chris Close in that position, come in from the wing, and now Meninga out there. Meninga hasn't been in great goal-kicking form, but this one is right in front, and it's about 40 metres out, but right in front. The wind blowing slightly against him, but the rain, as you can see there, just pouring down at the cricket ground. Now Meninga, 40 metres out, right in front, hasn't got much length in it. In fact, it's well short. Picked up. Does he get 1 point for going between the two posts? No, he doesn't. Kerry Jack has it. It's 10 metres out from the New South Wales line. Wayne Pearce, caught by Miles. Cross to Roach. Wharton the tackler. Simmons a dummy half, running from that position, but met by three Queensland defenders, Canescu, Dowling and Brown, the middle trio. Mortimer, back for Farrar. Gee, that's a big kick from Farrar. A big kick, and it's going to find touch. I think Bosted's going to get back for it, and he just managed to keep it in the field of play, and Bosted caught 10 metres out from the Queensland line.
Queensland bring it back, and Barry Gomersall gave the Maroons 3 penalties in the first 4 minutes of this match. Plenty defence coming in tight now. The Blues hitting hard. They're trying to rake the ball out. Dowling flicks it back inside. Some good play then. Fullerton Smith wearing the headband tonight. This scrum to pack just inside the 22. Queensland's end of the ground. Ray Price has blood coming out of the eye. Pack weights, Queensland 556 kilograms, New South Wales 550. Nothing much in it. Ball comes out, New South Wales. Steve Mortimer. Chance for the Blues. Using the back line too. Gary Jack is up. He's got a juggler down. He's hammered down through Lewis. Wayne Pearce, dummy half. Pearce with a run around through Farrar. Chris Close in there though with Vorton. Ray Price with some blood out of a cut over the eye, quite a deep cut. New South Wales run it now. Lamb gives it to Cleal. Lewis in there to tackle, along with Niebling. Simmons switches place. No, decides to hang on to it, Simmons. Wrapped up, though, a bit negative, Jack.
well, it's not going to be anything else. All they can do now is work from dummy half. The state of the pitch is total bog. And all I feel they can do is run in that area and kick the football.
Big hit from Pearce on Meninga then. It's his knee blink. Queensland with the football inside their own half. Loosening for the kick now. Gary Jack, careful to pick it up. Good play from Jack. Brings it back to the halfway line. New South Wales. This is Tunks. Got involved with the heavy stuff early. Simmons. Roach. Hit by Dowling high. Gorton underneath. Mortimer. High kick taken well by Scott, though. Been safe in these conditions, Scott. Tested twice and taken the ball twice. Meninga. Arthur Beetson wearing a sporty new Queensland cap. Pretty smart indeed. The kick again from Queensland. They want to play at New South Wales half, but again Gary Jack well positioned. Brings it back. Play just outside the 22.
I feel the fullbacks have got to have a little help down there. The wingers must come across and give him some assistance, because if he coughs that ball up, there's no one around him.
Barra playing it back to Lamb. Get it on to Roach. Roach, oh, and got one from Dowling then too, Roach. The big fella from Queensland laid one in. Lost the ball. Well, a penalty this time to New South Wales. And look at Roach. He says, thank you. See it again as Dowling came in. Bang, there it is. A little short one.
He never got penalised for that. He got penalised for pulling the ball away. The punch was... the referee seemed to accept that.
Chance for the Blues now. Ross Conlon, who's been kicking in sensational form this year, has the wind behind him, the rain driving down behind him, and it's not a bad wind, Jack.
Well, it's certainly going to assist him. He's got to get the ball in the air first. It's only 30-odd metres out.
Moves into it now around the corner style. He's got the height, he's got the distance, but waved away, so the scores remain 0-0 at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
And 11 minutes of play gone, and no quarter given or asked out there. So Wally Lewis restarting. Oh, it's only just gone 10 metres. Picked up by Simmons. Play situated just 10 metres inside the Queensland half. Mortimer, Cleal, bouncing into the tackles, losing the ball. Lewis has it, he's lost it. Picked up by Fullerton Smith. He's lost it. Scramble for possession. Referee says play on. Well, not sure that there wasn't a couple of knock-ons, but the New South Wales still keeping it alive with Conlon. Now Cleal. Queensland defence swarming in on him. Simmons. Steve Roach. Borton and Murray, the tacklers. Now it's back with Mortimer. Chip through for his outside backs. It's too deep. Picked up by Kerry Bosted. Out of one. Swung to the ground now. He's 30 metres out from his own line. No score in this match. Enescu now with a heavy hit. As close. Put down by Lamb. Very big Queensland backline, close as one of those big fellows. Back there is the comparison. You can see Queensland far outweighing New South Wales as far as the backs are concerned. Here's Miles, but he's lost it. Picked up by Lamb, he's lost it. Like a bit of soap out there, Jack.
Well, they're trying to do two things. Trying to grab the ball and run with it. If there's a loose ball, you just got to make a prisoner of it. But with Queensland and Beetson, well, he's a belt and braces man. He's not going to take any chances. He's just going to run the ball, dummy half, couple of passes to Lewis, and kick it.
42 metres out from the Queensland line. New South Wales have the loose head and the feed and have no trouble winning the scrum. This is Lamb. Caught by Lewis. Now Mortimer thought he saw an opening, made about 8 metres. Well picked up by Kenny. Back for Pearce. Miles there to take Pearce, though, still 42 metres out. Simmons straight into the Queensland forwards. Ray Price tucking the ball under his arm. Last tackle signal for the Blues. Mortimer's kick in the air for Scott. Takes it safely, though, just outside his own line. Met by Farah and Conlon. But he's only about 5 metres out from his own line. Bosted trying to pinch a metre. Now Canescu. 12 metres out. A solid hit there on Dowling. Jack there waiting for that kick. Got it pretty well so far. Put down by Niebling. Just inside Queensland's half. No score here. Mortimer's pass for Lamb. Cutting out the centre with a pass to Conlon.
I don't know about no score. There's no 5 yards. He won't even look along the line, Mr. Gomes.
Now it's back for Steve Roach. Mortimer onto Pearce. Defence good from both sides. Now Mortimer again. Price. Caught though by Fullerton Smith. Last tackle for New South Wales again. This time Mortimer putting it in the air. Knocked on by Miles. And referee Gomersall will put the scrum down, but there's a touch judge in to report something. Well, I'm not certain that there was anything in that tackle that the touch judge was worried about.
Well, if there's a penalty given, I think Queensland will get it.
New South Wales have won the 2 clean scrums. That one, though, pulled up. New South Wales have had the better of the possession. They're leading with 10 tackles. 10 extra tackles, that is, over Queensland in possession. They've played the game mostly in Queensland half at this stage. Queensland with the football now. Dave Brown. Back to Canescu. This is Dowling. Plenty of defence in for Dowling. He loses the ball. Price is hurt too. Fullerton Smith runs away with it. Unloads to Murray. Price still down, holding his hand. Went down pretty quickly after that big tackle. The Iron Man of rugby league, Ray Price. Queensland kicking now. Not a bad looking kick. 2 back to cover, Eric Growth. And let's see Growth, listen to the crowd when Growth gets the football. Brought it across to the Warrongul side of the stand. Conlon.
The player with the ball must run straight. He's too easily covered if he cuts an angle across towards the sideline.
This is Roach. Back to Simmons at dummy half. Now they start to use the football, but decide to kick it and play it in Queensland's half. So the tactics are pretty obvious at this stage from New South Wales, Jack.
Well, either side hasn't any option, but when they kick the ball, I feel they should kick it down centre field, because that kicking to a sideline situation, well, they're taking the odds of going out in the full. And it's going to be hard to make yards there tonight.
This is Paul Vorton. Losing the ball, Vorton. Scooped up by New South Wales. Midway between the quarter and a half. 0-0 at the Sydney Cricket Ground. New South Wales now on the attack, but they've put it down. The ball very slippery in atrocious conditions here. Lewis with a good pass to Dowling. Dowling belts his way 3 metres. Meninga in looking for work at dummy half. Canescu. Fullerton Smith. Back for Murray, onto Lewis. Murray looking for the runners to come through. But taken well by Andrew Farrer. Neely not too happy about that as he plays it back. Back to Murray. Again, Farrer the tackler. Back for Colin Scott. He's taken. Well, Queensland going nowhere at this stage. Good defence from New South Wales. Dave Brown. Lewis puts it in the air. Conlon will come back after Jack knocked it backwards. New South Wales about 5 metres out. There's Lewis, but pretty hard, hit hard after he kicked that ball. Gary Jack 10 metres out from the New South Wales line. Terry Lamb taken by Vaughton. They've taken play about 15 metres out from the line now. Pearce takes it over the 22 for New South Wales out of that danger zone. Mortimer with a nice pass to Farrer, but Farrer, good long kick. Finds Scott out of position too. That was a great kick. Fails to find touch, but has Queensland pinned down inside their 22. Big gain for New South Wales from one 22 to the other.
Well, Tunks and Mortimer done particularly well there. They really chased that kick down and made it worthwhile.
Chris Close putting the ball down as Arthur has another one. This scrum will pack on the 22, Queensland's end of the ground. And the Reds under a lot of pressure in this game so far. Still no score. Barry Gomersall taking plenty of time to set it. Good shot of that scrum. The hooker down for Queensland. Canescu, his growth, takes on Meninga. Meninga wraps him up though. Ray Price. And inside the 22, New South Wales, a chance for the Blues now. Here's Cleal. Cleal. Three defenders though for Queensland. Dowling, Brown and Fullerton Smith. Now they spin it. Terry Lamb, the little chip over the top. Bouncing in the in-goal area, but Lewis just punches it out. Wally Lewis then showing the pressure that was on him. Touch judges in. Let's have a look at this again. Here's Lamb. Gets through that defence. Now he chips over the top. There's the high tackle. That's what the penalty was for. Lamb really belted down after he kicked that ball. Fullerton Smith was the man who hit him high. New South Wales have the penalty.
Well, there's been so much more venom in the New South Wales defence in this game so far compared to that first match, and that's resulted in Queensland losing the ball on 8 occasions compared to New South Wales 4. Jack, do you agree that the New South Wales pack is working much better as a defensive unit?
Yes, they're doing pretty well, but in one situation there, I think each team lost the ball 4 times, but Gomersall didn't let the play go on, so I suppose it was fair enough. But I think the biggest influence in this game would be Farrer and Conlon for the ability to punt the ball a long distance.
Okay, now Ross Conlon, his second opportunity to put points on the board for New South Wales. Just outside the right-hand upright. And it's missed again, so the score 0-0 here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Wow, goodness me, the referee had to have a good look at that. As Kerry Bowstead lost the ball, New South Wales must have been perilously close to touching down. Watch this. Bowstead losing the ball. And it looked like Kenny was claiming that he touched down. Referee said no try. So we'll stick with play as New South Wales have it. Just 30 metres out from the Queensland line. Just Price offloading to Mortimer. Now with Cleal. Heavy work going in on Cleal from Gene Miles. Now Tunks. Jack losing it behind him. Nice bit of footwork from Andrew Farrar, but I'm not sure that he's got the ball. And the referee isn't either. He's called a knock on. Well, now he used some fancy footwork here, as you can see, trying to pick the ball up there. The referee claimed he knocked it on. Jack Gibson.
Well, he's a lot closer to the action than I am, but it didn't happen that way on the video.
Well, from the scrum, Queensland ball. Now here's Lewis. Putting it down over Jack's head. You can see how wet that ground is, the spray coming off that football. Now Gary Jack caught by Close and Miles. No score. New South Wales in possession, 45 metres out from their own line. This is Price. Now it's back with Tunks. Simmons passed from Mortimer. Now to Farrar. The kick again from Farrar. Scott back for it, but he's not back far enough again. Gee, kicks the ball a long way, Andrew Farrar. Scott has it in his own in-goal area. He's a metre out. And just able to get out of that ankle tap, but he's only about 3 metres out.
Certainly done well there, Kenny. He nearly nailed him in the inside the in-goal area.
Meninga's able to make a couple of more metres. For Lewis. Growth and Jack back for it. Jack will have it. Now here's Eric Growth. Jack Gibson said he's got to run straight. Well, he's running a bit straighter and able to get out of one over the halfway mark. Thornton finally holds him, but play just inside the Queensland territory. Now Gary Jack. 10 metres inside Queensland's half. Mortimer. Roach losing it forward. Queensland has it as Mark Murray dives on the ball. Back for Lewis. Spuns over Conlon's head, and that's a good kick from Lewis. Well, first time that he's been able to find touch, and he's found it just about 35 metres out from the New South Wales half from the line. And that was over Conlon's head, finding touch. Good kick from Lewis.
0-0 at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Kicks in general play. New South Wales have kicked 12 times. Queensland 9. New South Wales now just inside their 22. This is Ray Price. Arthur Beetson looking a little more concerned at the Sydney Cricket Ground rather than Lang Park. I'd like to take this opportunity of congratulating the public of Sydney turning out on this atrocious night. There's a big crowd on here to cheer on the Blues. Roach loses the ball though. Picked up well by Lewis. It's taken by Farrar. Unloads though. Gets it to Dowling. Dowling now. The big man finds the gap. On to Gene Miles. He claps on the pace. And a good run from Miles as he brought down about 15 metres out from the line. Queensland with some momentum. Back to Dowling. This is Murray. 10 metres out from the New South Wales line. No score. Canescu, dummy half to Lewis. Turns it back inside. This is Niebling. Back to Canescu. On to Lewis. What's the little general doing? He gets a lovely ball up for Canescu, but he's lost it, and Gary Jack in possession about a metre out from the line. That was nice play from Lewis. A beautiful ball. Couldn't be handled in the conditions. Mortimer. Clearing it for the Blues. Andrew Farrar. Farrar. Wrapped up, though, by Fullerton Smith. Simmons. Just Tunks. New South Wales still inside their 22 as Mortimer flings one out for Lamb. Lamb with a floater out. Can't be handled by Kenny. Taken by Conlon. Dangerous stuff. They've lost ground in that movement now, the Blues. Look for the kick. There it is from Mortimer. Bouncing centre field inside Queensland's half. It'll be cleaned up by Colin Scott. Brings it back now for the Maroons. Right on the halfway line. Still no score at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Meninga. Royce Simmons down low and Pearce over the top, and that's the mud heap right in the middle of the field as Lewis switches play to Murray. Strong Murray. Niebling, dummy half. Lewis. This is Vorton. Looked to unload but couldn't. Tunks underneath. Pearce over the top. It's a bit of the black mud in the face for good measure. Queensland loose again, and New South Wales have the football. Steve Mortimer. Roach. Brett Kemi, dummy half now on the Mortimer. This is Tunks. 10 metres short of the halfway line of New South Wales. Simmons on the Lamb. Lamb kicks. That's a good-looking kick too as Scott comes across. It won't find touch, but it's pinned Queensland down inside their 22. Scott tackled almost on the 22. Bullock and Smith having a bit of an argument with Cleal. They switch directions as Bowstead tries to make some territory for Queensland. This is Niebling. Hit hard by Simmons. Good front on tackle. Canescu. Dave Brown. Belding back. Canescu, Lewis, out for Murray. There's Vorton. On to Chris Close, but he's wrapped up and slammed down. Meninga, Lewis, and again Queensland kick. They can't penetrate this New South Wales defence, Jack.
Well, they're not going to make many inroads. You see, he's made 30, 35 yards, 40 yards with a kick, and yet 5 plays before that they made about 5 or 6 running from dummy half. So they've just got to keep kicking the football irrespective of the tackle count.
10 minutes to the half-time break. Play just inside the New South Wales half, and there's not a score on the board at this stage. Of course, the national selectors have made it clear that the second test team to play England will be chosen after this game, and much will depend on what happens out there. There's been some pretty good performances in terrible conditions so far. Now Queensland in possession by Close just inside New South Wales territory now. Canescu is dummy half. It's with Lewis, and he's lost it. Losing it forward. Well, who can blame him? The rain is just falling down here. Torrential rain at the Sydney Cricket Ground. And it's no wonder that Lewis or any player loses the football like that.
Just a hard way to make a living on a night like this.
New South Wales ball. Terry Lamb is able to take the pass, and he's put down just inside his own half. This is Barra. It's the halfway line you see on your screen. Now it's with Mortimer. Old Cleal. Right on halfway. Mortimer. Peter Tunks losing it forward.
They continued losing the football because they won't carry it in both hands. They've really got to take it up there in both hands. Most of them that lose it get their arm around the ball on one and trying to use the other as a palm, and consequently that's slipping out.
That's only the second scrum that Queensland have been able to win. Murray is just inside the New South Wales half and right in centre field, which is the slipperiest and wettest part of the football ground. Vorton dumped and losing the ball, but the referee holding play. Now he's putting a scrum down. Let's try and interpret this ruling, Jack Gibson.
Well, as the interpretation here, he's called held, that in the action of the tackle he has no option yet to put the scrum down.
There's no argument about that, but gee, must have called held pretty early. Well, here's a loose ball, and anyone wants to fall on it. It's finally Murray with Ray Price on top of him. Vorton just over the halfway mark in New South Wales territory. No score at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Lewis able to Flick it back for Fatty Vorton. Out of one. Had support too from Canescu. Now it's on to Dowling. He's lost it forward. Brett Kenny's taken it for New South Wales. Just outside the New South Wales quarter. Across for Lamb. The kick through. Can't regather though. Ryan Niebling able to fall on it just before Lamb. Now Lewis. Gary Bowstead. A pass to nobody, picked up by Dowling. Overhead for Miles, who finally is able to pick it up. Trying to push off Mortimer, and he does so, but over the top comes Ross Conlon. Good run from Gene Miles. Kicked into touch from the play the ball. So a scrum will go down about 20 metres out from the New South Wales line.
We seemed to kick a little early then, but I think the rest of the team will take up the initiative there, and most play the balls. I feel they're going to kick it.
Important scrum win to Queensland. Scott plays it. Now to Murray and Lewis. Cutting out one, the pass to Miles. It's loose. Swooped upon by the New South Wales player, Andrew Farrer. Just on his own quarter line. Now this is Kenny. Ray Price is dummy half. Tunks taking the ball up. Two hands this time. Steve Roach. Those three Queensland defenders doing an awful lot of work for their side. Now Mortimer. Scott is there for it. Now Scott. Can he get through this defence? He's got Bowstead with him, but the pass to Bowstead is behind him. Conlon claims Bowstead. Pretty skinny 5 metres from referee Garmasol at the moment, as Queensland take play up towards the halfway mark. Cross to Niebling, caught by Simmons. And Roach and Tunks. Now Dave Brown, right in the cricket pitch area, but just inside New South Wales half. Canescu, back for Murray. Now Lewis, on to Miles. Out of one, Wheel takes him. And he's lost the ball. Steve Mortimer picks it up for New South Wales, and he's 35 metres out from his own line.
Wayne Pearce 0-0 at the Sydney Cricket Ground, 5 minutes out from half-time. Gary Jack working play toward the halfway. Good run from Jack, solid run. Still on his feet. And hits the deck on the halfway line. Ray Price. On to Mortimer. This is Lamb. Chip through. Kenny following it, but Meninga comes up with it. Chris Close drops the ball off the boot. Well, Barry Gomersall has said, play on, Jack Gibson.
Well, he should have been in the soccer match, Barry, because he dropped the ball cold.
And the crowd don't like it. Well, Queensland in possession now. Fullerton Smith, Murray. This defence, Roy Simmons dumping him down. Lewis now chips through, and that's Gary Jack again. Well, he's fumbled it, and it's found touch by Cheetah. Well, that kick wasn't a bad kick, but it was mishandled by Gary Jack in this weather condition that we're having here. Watch it again. There's the kick. Bouncing now. Gary Jack had it pretty well covered, but just too slippery. That's the second time only that Lewis has found touch in this match. Certainly not a good night for putting the ball in the air, but they've won the scrum. Lewis now. Ball going across the back line. This is close. Taken by Kenny.
You done well there, Kenny, because if they got that ball out there, strong overlap.
Lewis. They're inside the 22. Murray. Price underneath. A lot of defensive work from Ray Price. He's got the ball. He's come up with the football. Well, what a crucial possession that is, Jack Gibson.
He's done particularly well. So is Wayne Pearce. I don't know. There seems to be 2 sets of 8s and 2 sets of 9s out there, but they're really working hard in defence.
Roy Simmons trying to battle his way through Dowling. He did so too. Vorton came in. Also with Canescu. Mortimer. Little stab over the top. Taken by Dowling. Up quick too, Dowling. Chance here now, Queensland. Gene Miles. Clear there. Royce Simmons there. And this rain is just teeming down at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Dowling. Long pass out for Vaughton. Vaughton looking for a bit of support, but they're a bit slow to come to him then. But inside the 22, 10 metres out. Murray. Lewis. Kinescu will play it about 5 metres out from the New South Wales line. Third tackle for Queensland. Long floater out for Chris Close. Standing up, but Jack there over the top wraps him up with Terry Lamb underneath. Gene Miles now. This is Lewis. Dowling on to Murray's put it down. Kinescu falls on it.
It looked like another one of those drop kicks that said play on earlier.
This time, Jack, he's going to put a scrum there.
Well, he's made a different decision on that, but it looked the same.
Funny about that. This scrum about 15 metres out from the New South Wales line. Comes out New South Wales way, scooped up by Mortimer. No score. Atrocious conditions and a big crowd at the Sydney Cricket Ground to cheer on the Blues. Ray Price. Price. Fullerton Smith just getting to him then, but Ray Price having a giant game here tonight. Gary Jack will play it back to Growth onto Simmons. Simmons has been strong too. He drops that shoulder every time and hurts the opposition. Tunks. Tunks still going. Tunks lost the football. Taken up by Royce Simmons. Well, he said play on again, so I can't follow this man. His rulings are difficult to follow. Roach. Short of the halfway, New South Wales is Lamb now. Lamb sees a little gap, flings the ball back. Scooped up quickly by Farah. He gets a pass away, this time to Mortimer. And they've taken play just inside the Queensland half. Good play, New South Wales. Wayne Pearce, dummy half. Here's Tunks. Well, he's dropped the football again, Tunks. Comes up through Lewis for Queensland. Puts a wild one out. Chris Close, he mishandles. Falls on it this time. The referee says we'll have a scrum midway between the 22 and the half in Queensland's half. And there's the half-time hooter now. 0-0 at the Sydney Cricket Ground. A pretty entertaining match when you consider the conditions. And this crowd really sticking by both sides. Let's have a look at the stats for you. 0-0 score. Penalties have gone 4-2 Queensland's favour. Scrum 6-5 to New South Wales. We'll be back shortly with Jack Gibson and Mike Gibson for the half-time summary.
Well, as you can see, conditions haven't improved for the second half. We're underway. There are no changes to either side as the fireworks start again. I wonder, will they start on the field now? This is Eric Growth. As you can see, both sides still in the same jumpers, which surprises me. I would have thought they'd have a fresh set of jumpers for each side. Just get them a little bit warm. Ray Price now, no score in this second State of Origin match, and what a first half this fellow had, Ray Price. Time in possession indicates the number of minutes in the first 40 minutes that both sides held the football, and Queensland just 2 minutes more than New South Wales, bearing in mind that all-in brawl must have gone on for the best part of a minute, so there's nothing much between those two sides as far as time in possession is concerned. And Queensland have the slightly better average for metres gained per 6 metres, 3 metres in fact. 45 minutes for Queensland every 6 tackles, and New South Wales just 3 less. And the hard-working trios for both sides, well, Pearce, Tunks and Simmons have done the lion's share of the work for New South Wales, and Kinescu, Niebling and Vaughton an equal amount of work for Queensland. New South Wales in possession just outside their own quarter. boots is Steve Roach. Peter Tunks again losing the football. New South Wales dropped the ball on 9 occasions in the first half. Queensland 19 occasions. So that just indicates how important it is, Jack, to hold that football in both hands tonight.
Well, if Peter's going to take it up one hand, continually do that, he's going to lose it a lot more times.
Dave Brown for Queensland, just outside the New South Wales quarter. Murray has it, now Lewis. Back for Murray. Pearce around the ankles and Roach over the top. Ryan Niebling. It's only about 15 metres out from the New South Wales line. The last tackle, Lewis will put the bomb in the air. Perfectly positioned bomb for Gary Jack, who takes it nicely and is caught in his own in-goal area. But gee whiz, there was some pressure there for Jack. Not only was the ball slippery and heavy, but he had all these Queenslanders following him through. That's a good effort, Jack.
Yeah, plenty offside too. He had to contend with that. He done fine.
Well, a lot of the players are having trouble handling the ball under pretty normal conditions, but there's a penalty to Queensland from the goal line dropout. A penalty to Queensland. Noel Cleal.
Well, what happened? Cleal just dropped the ball and stayed in the pool of water there, and he never got his foot to it, and it drifted about a metre. So
how would you feel? Look, the look on his face. A penalty has to be given to Queensland because the ball must go 10 metres from the restart of play. So the easiest of penalties for Mal Meninga right in front. Well, how would Noel Cleal feel, Jack?
I tell you, Mal's got a little bit of history of screwing these kicks.
Well, Arthur Beetson has his fingers crossed, believe me. That look says it all. Why? Now Meninga shouldn't have any difficulty at all, and it's right between the posts. So Queensland have hit the front. They lead New South Wales 2 points to 0. Well, restart. Meninga has it. Noel Cleal now, Jack. What's he got to do? He's got to just forget all about that, I guess.
Well, it's a hazard. I mean, you get a lot of water there.
Well, he's certainly throwing himself into the defensive work now. Queensland lead 2 points to 0. This is Niebling, just outside his own quarter line. Dowling is dummy half. Now it's with Lewis. And that kick is down for Gary Jack, who's positioned perfectly and takes it nicely over his shoulder. Almost back to the halfway mark. Look at that water. Now it's with Eric Growth. Almost busting that defensive line from Queensland.
And he run 5 and slid 6.
Barra kicking on the third tackle over Scott's head on his own goal line when he takes the ball. Caught by Kenny, away from Kenny though. Barra is there to take him, but he's about 10 metres, 15 metres out from his own line.
Wally Lewis got the ball onto Meninga now. He's being wrestled on the 22 line for Queensland. Lewis again, this time kicks. Touched by New South Wales. Chance now with Conlon. Trailing Queensland 2 points to 0. And with the ball. Kenny can't take it. Scoops it up quickly though. New South Wales keep it alive. And they put it down and it's gone into touch. Well, Growth put it down then. Very, very slippery conditions. They did well to keep it alive. Pearce here with a good ball out for Growth, but it just slipped straight through his fingers over into touch. This scrum now set inside the Queensland half. Murray with the ball. Fullerton, Smith. Lewis kicking. Well, the tactics have changed, Jack, because now Queensland are kicking, but he's put it out in the full. Wally Lewis always has trouble kicking at the Sydney Cricket Ground. If you remember this time last year, in the second game, he had trouble finding the line. Got plenty of height, but too much distance. Back live now. Queensland back with the ball. Still inside their own half. This is Dowling. Gene Miles goes from dummy half. Gene Miles. Pearce underneath. Roach over the top. Canescu. It's the halfway line you can see. Chris Close. And they're just into the Blues territory. Canescu. And they've lost the ball. New South Wales have picked it up through Tunks. Simmons. Mortimer. Out to Lamb. Gary Jack's up on the back line. This is Farah. Farah strong.
Well, they lost about 3 or 4 yards in that play, and they went through 4 or 5 sets of hands. It's a big risk.
Interesting to note that Wally Lewis kicks 9 out of 11 before the 5th tackle in this game, so he's not scared to kick it early. Simmons, Mortimer, Noel Cleal makes the bust. Can't unload though. Ooh, and a swinging arm from Niebling. He's lost the ball, and Lewis comes away with it. So changing fortunes here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. And plenty of heavy stuff going in close too. Canescu gets it on to Dave Brown. Taken by Roach. Tanks comes underneath. This is Mal Meninga. And they're working play deeper inside the New South Wales half now. About 10 metres out from the 22. Gene Miles belted down. Has a look too. Fullerton Smith. That's the 22 line. You can see where Barry Gomersall is. Canescu to Lewis. Niebling looks to unload, loses the ball. Meninga falls on it. The crowd again not happy.
Only went a yard forward. It wasn't that bad.
Ball up from Lewis. Good kick too. He puts it right up on the upright all the time. It's gone loose. Gary Jack falls on it though. Lewis's kicks are so accurate. Now watch where he places the ball. Right up on that upright. It'll come down on the crossbar, and that causes all sorts of problems for Jack. Loose ball, but he managed to clean it up.
Well, another goal line dropout. Don't do it again, Noel. Oh, gee, he didn't do much better that time. But it's down for Greg Dowling. With 10 minutes gone, Queensland leading 2 points to 0.
I feel that Queensland may have a shot at a field goal because it's a big lead if they can make 3 in these conditions.
Back for Murray now. On for Niebling. Almost through. Leaders out from the South Wales line. Here's Lewis. Dropping the ball behind him. Lewis has it again. But referee says yes, play on. Now he's Dowling at dummy half. He's lost it. Another scramble for possession. Murray's claimed it, but referee Gomersall this time ruling a knock on. Well, the two coaches, what's going through their minds, Jack Gibson?
Well, Beetson is in front. Queensland own the lead, and they just want to stay there.
Gary Jack. Eric Growth. Peter Tunks. "30 metres out from the New South Wales line. Now it's with Farah, charged down, and it's back for Gary Jack. Chased by Miles and brought down by Miles. He's only 10 metres out from his own line. Queensland lead 2 points to 0. This is Conlon. Around the ankles was Brian Niebling. Roach just taking it up. Mark Murray down, mud in the eye. This kick again is out on the full. Well, I know we made comments during the test match about the markings here at the Sydney Cricket Ground, and I guess under these conditions you can't really be too critical, but gee whiz, they're very hard to distinguish the markings tonight. Queensland ball. Here's Lewis. Still going. They're only about 15 metres out from the New South Wales line. Dowling, caught by Tunks and Pearce. 8 metres out. Canescu, driven back by Mortimer. Losing the ball, Canescu. Not happy with it, but he certainly lost it, and referee Gomersall putting the scrum down. The Mortimer feed, and New South Wales loose head. No trouble winning it. Murray very quickly claims Mortimer. They're only about 10 metres out from the New South Wales line. Gary Jack, caught by Canescu and Dowling. Again, the Queenslanders not letting the New South Wales dummy half run at all. Back for Wayne Pearce. Niebling and Vorton, the defenders. Still hemmed in, about 12 metres out. Now the kick is back for Colin Scott, and it's just stayed on the ground. Lewis is back for it. And Lewis caught by Farah. Scott objected to the way Farah handled Lewis. It's a Scott. Caught by Steve Roach now. Just inside New South Wales territory. Vorton. Queensland lead 2-0. This is Dave Brown. For Murray. Now Miles. Pearce around the ankles again. An enormous amount of work. Last tackle for the Maroons. Lewis. Putting it in the air for Eric Groth, who can't handle it properly, and it's picked up by Niebling. Niebling's lost it. Scramble for possession. Price finally falls on it, and he's only about 8 metres out from his own line. Being driven back closer to the line by Dowling. Mortimer playing it. Groth. Cross to Farah. Queensland defence moving up very quickly. New South Wales have been hemmed close to their line now for some time. This is back for Meninga. Just inside the New South Wales half. He's run 10 metres. Queensland leading 2 points to 0. Darryl Eastlake.
Thanks, Ian, as Colin Scott takes it up. Queensland had a mammoth share of possession this second half so far. They've had New South Wales pinned in their own half for a long, long time. Good defence, Jack Gibbs, under these conditions.
Well, that's all they've got left. All we're going to see now is some exciting 2-yard runs.
Dave Brown has put back with an exciting 2-yard run. Canescu. Lewis turns it back inside this time to Niebling. Niebling unloads. Chance for Queensland as Canescu takes it up. They're only 5 metres out. Last tackle for Queensland. Lewis, a little chip. Whoa, it bounces off the upright, and they're in! Dowling has gone in, and that's off a Lewis kick, and that's got to be luck. It came off the post, went back into the field of play. Dowling scooped it up and went in for Queensland. Well, Wally Lewis magic, call it what you like, but every time he gets the ball and he thinks this man, they come up with points. Off the crossbar, back into the field of play. Dowling underneath for 4 points.
7. Well, certainly a great catch of Dowling's. The presence of mind even to hold this ball. Tremendous effort. He took it clean.
Greg Dowling, the big front rower, the man they call the toughest prop in Brisbane, has come up with a vital try for Queensland. The kick, well, it's a sitter. Mal Meninga has kicked one almost from an identical position. 1 from 2. New South Wales looking terribly dejected. 2 mistakes have cost them points tonight. Meninga moves into it. There it goes. Flags are up. Queensland now surge ahead in conditions like this. 8 points to 0 over New South Wales. New South Wales recommence now. Well, New South Wales have only held the ball for 5 minutes a stint. Queensland 10 minutes in this half. That kick far too big. That kick went over the dead ball line, so it means that New South Wales will get possession back. Lewis from under the post. It's only a short one. He's muffed it. Now a chance for New South Wales. They need a try, and they need it badly, Jack.
You've got to get in there somehow.
Chance here. They're lying nice and deep. Good pass out. This is Gary Jack, 10 metres out from the red line. Lamb, Cleal. Can't get his footing, Cleal. They've lost a bit of ground. Roach inside the 22 now. 4th tackle for New South Wales. Mortimer puts it up on the 4th. Up it goes high. It's loose. Scramble for possession. And Queensland off the hook. Look at Frank Stanton, very, very concerned. New South Wales must win this one to keep the series alive. They'll get possession back, though. Lewis again makes a better job of it this time. Ball skates into New South Wales territory. Eric Growth. Players having all sorts of trouble trying to keep their footing in the slime on the Sydney Cricket Ground tonight. Pearce, nice ball up. Pearce gets it on to Brett Kenny. Kenny showing a bit of pace. No support there, though. But they're back in an attacking position. Lamb. This is Tunks. Tunks held up. Too much defence. Replacement coming out. Pat Jarvis coming onto the ground, but will stay with the action at the moment. Mortimer. Good pass out for Price. 4th tackle again for New South Wales. They need points desperately here. Roach. Straight and hard. Queensland meet him 10 metres out. Simmons out to Mortimer. Again the kick. Well, it's gone backwards, and Queensland come up with it with Bowstead. Queensland now will want to run it out through Gene Miles. Lewis kicks again. Driving kick too, and that one has found open spaces. Gary Jack springing across to pick it up deep inside New South Wales half, and the Blues bring it back. Good tackle in from Bowstead. Mortimer. Conlon. Liam Maurice, they need points, and they need them desperately.
Yeah, they certainly do, but Wally Lewis kicking on the 3rd tackle on that occasion, obviously intent on playing the game or the rest of the game in New South Wales territory, but the Blues are not done yet. Moving the ball around now. Much better. This is Conlon.
On that occasion, they ran the ball straight, and they made some yards. And a lot of the others, they're running those curves, and when you run a curve, you're so easily tackled.
Now here's Farah. Down the touchline, Farah. An infield kick. Are there any chasers? There are plenty there, but the ball may be a bit deep. Scott's there and kicking it over the dead ball line. Well, Frank Stanton showing no emotion, but I reckon that his heart might be pumping a little faster. Steve Eller is on the sideline. And let's see who he's going to replace. Uncertainty out there as to who's coming off.
Well, I think he should hold him up. He's showing little signs of weariness. Farah.
He's not on the field yet, Ella, and here's the drop kick from Lewis. Kenny. The game has suddenly come to life, and so have the fans. They saw the Blues' hopes sink when Queensland went in for that try, still trailing by 8 points. But New South Wales throwing themselves at the line now. Here's Cleo, and he's only 5 metres out. Can the Blues score? Inside pass for Wayne Pearce. Desperation tackling from Queensland has kept him out, and Lewis has taken the ball. A penalty to New South Wales against Lewis. Lewis giving the referee plenty of opinion out there. Ella is on. Steve Ella is on, and here is the incident that resulted in the penalty. That's Lewis taking the ball from Wayne Pearce. Now, Ella is on. Who's coming off? Brett Kenny is coming from the field holding a hamstring. So Steve Ella is on, and Brett Kenny leaving the field.
They always seem to limp a little extra when they're pulled off.
Okay, Ross Conlon now. Very easy kick. Makes no mistake, New South Wales are 6 points behind. Queensland 8, New South Wales 2. Now, Jack Gibson. Is this football game over?
It certainly isn't, but time's still running out. They must run the ball straight. If they run those curves, they're cutting across field. They're not picking up, they're burning up their plays, and they have a tendency to run one out. Where they get one or two either side of them, it does take their defence off the man carrying the football.
Wally Lewis about to restart. South Wales want to get this football back in Queensland territory as quickly as they possibly can. This is Gary Jack. Crowd are starting to chant. There's the kick back down to Scott.
Well, the best way to get it there is to kick it and to chase it.
Well, that's what they did, and they chased, and Peter Tunks was able to make the tackle on Scott. Now it's back for Lewis, and he returns the kick. Gary Jack gives it to Growth. Growth across field, out of one, starting to straighten now, losing his balance, but made some good yardage. Took play almost to the halfway mark. Listen to the applause from the crowd. This crowd is now sensing a New South Wales revival. Could it be a rebirth of the Blues? And look at the defence. Mortimer wants it. Lewis won't give it to him.
It's Steve Ella hit that ball carrier with a real good shot. That's why he lost it.
Now this scrum is on the Queensland quarter line. Mortimer to feed. They should win it. Penalty's gone to Queensland. Scrum moving off the mark. Look at Steve Roach. Can't believe it. But you better believe it. The penalty has gone to Queensland. Now Lewis has found touch about 32 metres out from his own line.
Big Dowling now has scored the try for Queensland. Vital try for rebound off the post, in possession now. Back to Lewis. Well, can't kick that time, didn't have the room. Cleal on him like a wet blanket. Canescu. Roach though wraps him up, ball and all. Queensland have the ball back in New South Wales half. Gene Miles, they realised the kick was on then, they smothered Miles. Dave Brown. New South Wales are waiting for the changeover. They're trying to smother the kicks. Miles gets it in this time though. High ball. Jack underneath it, takes it well again. He's had a great game, Gary Jack. Runs it out, but they're still inside the 22, New South Wales. Ross Conlon, dummy half. This is Simmons. Mortimer. On to Tunks. Tunks straightens up. Niebling the tackler. Mortimer. Roach. It's Niebling doing a lot of defensive work with Vaughton. Roach trying to get up. And that'll be a penalty, yes sir. Niebling might want to argue about it, but he's certainly holding him down. See it again. Vaughton, Niebling on top of him, trying to get off. Roach trying to get up. Well, penalty goes New South Wales. The kicked over, that's a mistake. Well, there was a knock on there, so it's come out their way. Both did not happy about it, but it wasn't a good kick. It's the two coaches for you. Frank Stanton getting under the guardrail and Arthur high above the pack. New South Wales ball. Well, they've kicked this time with Lamb on the first. Look at Ella coming through. Taken by Miles, though, and he's skidded back another 12 metres into his own territory. They're only 10 metres out from their own line, Queensland now. Malmaninga trying to run it out. They've lost the ball. Regained, though. Wait for the referee. New South Wales penalty. And listen to the crowd. Canescu put it down.
Well, I couldn't work out that penalty either. I don't know about Barry Gomes, so they haven't picked him on looks. I don't know if they picked him on ability or not. But
going for the kicker goal, Ross Conlon. Pretty well in front. 12 minutes remaining, the score 8 points to 2. Queensland in front. 1 from 3 in these conditions, considering the way he's kicked this season is not good. Sets himself now. There it goes, and he's missed it. Well, Jack, I don't know, maybe keeping the pressure on would have been better tactics.
no, he had to take the 2. See, there's 10 minutes to go. They had to kick the goal.
6 points the difference. Lewis restarts from the 22. Gary Jack has handled the ball so well tonight. Tackled by Miles. Will they keep it for 6 this time? New South Wales have been kicking early. Growth explodes onto the ball, but Niebling wraps him up. Simmons, he's played well tonight too. This is Cleal. Bouncing out of tackles, Cleal. A big man stands. Now they put him down. 15 metres into Queensland territory. Mortimer, Lamb kicking this time. Out to the open spaces. It'll find touch. That's a great kick from Terry Lamb. He had a look. No one at home and put it in the air and found the line. Only around 5 or 6 metres out. Here it is again. Good tactics, New South Wales. Lamb had a look. Skids over the line. This scrum will pack 10 metres out from the Queensland line. Queensland ball. This is Dowling. William Maurice have got the ball.
I want to try and hang on to the ball as long as they possibly can now. There's only 10 minutes to go. Queensland leads 8 points to 2. New South Wales need that football, and they need it in the Queensland half. Queensland has sent on a replacement. Bob Lindner is on the sideline, ready to come on. This is Gary Jack, though, with the football. Caught nicely by Chris Close, but running across field, Jack Gibson.
They continually run. See, if they can cut, if they run that angle straight upfield, Queensland have a straight line of defence.
Here comes Steve Ella. He's running straight and he's losing the football, though.
And they break that straight line of defence, well, they must be running free. But our fellas continually cut across field, working towards that sideline.
Queensland starting to slow the game down. Why wouldn't they? They lead by 8 points to 2. Just under 10 minutes of this State of Origin match remaining. Play situated just inside the New South Wales half. This is Dave Brown. Caught by Price, who's worked tirelessly for New South Wales tonight. Now Dowling. Dowling's got to be the forward find of the year. as Pat Jarvis limbers up on the sideline. Dowling's the player who burst onto the scene this year. Made the Australian side, but look at Growth putting the ball down behind him. New South Wales via Steve Ella. Just around their quarter line. Bob Lindner on the sideline for Queensland. This kick is down from Meninga. Finally picked up by Scott. Caught by Pearce. 5 metres inside his own half. Meninga out to Lewis. Returning the kick. On the second tackle on that occasion. Gary Jack is there for it. Good tactics from Wally Lewis to keep New South Wales in their own half. Brian Niebling coming from the field. The Queensland side, Bob Lindner in jumper 15 is on. New South Wales has spilled it. Queensland spilled it. There must be a scrum, surely. There is. Now Pat Jarvis is coming on for New South Wales. Peter Tunks coming off. How do you think Tunks has gone, Jack?
Well, he hasn't had the happiest games in the world because he lost. He carried the ball up about 6 times there in one section and lost it 5. But he was worked pretty hard. I thought his defence was pretty strong.
New South Wales aren't done yet. This is Cleo trying to slip that pass to Growth, who's gone without it. Lindner has it for Queensland. New South Wales defence is to him. 12 metres inside the New South Wales half. Bulletin Smith.
It's impossible for Queensland to lose. The draw would be absolute worst thing that could happen. And there's 6 or 7 minutes to go, and they're just working the clock down, running from dummy 100.
Lindner just on the New South Wales quarter. Back for Lewis. Meninga caught by Growth. But they're only about 8 metres out from the New South Wales line. It's the last tackle, the Lewis bomb. Where's Gary Jack? Can't see him anywhere. He didn't need to be there. The ball is loose. Towed through by Bowstead. Now Jack has it. Scrambling play. And referee Gomersall has ordered a goal line dropout for New South Wales. Now we've seen Noel Cleal give away 2 points when he miscued the goal line dropout. That one is marginally better. Picked up by Miles. Caught by Pearce. Out away to Dowling. Caught by Pearce again. Price. Lewis could be looking for a field goal. It's back with him now. He's going to run the ball. It's gone to Close. Close now only about 6 or 7 metres out from the New South Wales line. Canescu getting dangerously close to the line. That's the line you see there. Back for Murray. Now to Lewis. Now to Dowling. But he's finally upended. Last tackle for Queensland. Will we see a field goal now? No, we won't. This is Miles. Miles is looking for the line, and he's there. Gene Miles is in. Gene Miles has wrapped up the State of Origin series with that try right underneath the posts. Queensland now 12, New South Wales 2. And the big crowd here is just stunned. They can't believe it.
They're pretty wet too.
Well, that was how simple it was from the dummy half. Miles picked it up. Clear was clinging to him. Jarvis was there. Jack was there, but they couldn't stop him. You watch him from the dummy half. He saw the gap. He's very slippery, of course, very strong as well, and able to take those defenders over the line with him to score the 4 points right underneath the post. Well, regardless of this result tonight, of course, we will have a third State of Origin match on July 17th at Lang Park. And I wonder if either side will be game, Jack Gibson, to experiment with new players.
Well, the selectors are going to experiment with them for sure. They're going to come up, say the players let us down and that, but it's proven here tonight that they're the better side in this series, Queensland. They've played strong and seem to make less mistakes.
Well, the flags go up and 2 more points to Queensland. They lead 14 points to 2, 4 minutes of play remaining.
New South Wales bring it back. They'd like to make a face saver, I think. Queensland side has unleashed plenty of power. Scott brings it back. It's taken by Jarvis. Roach over the top. And I guess, Jack Gibson, you've got to look at the battle between the coaches too. Arthur Beetson has proved the point again over Frank Stanton.
Well, he certainly has. He's done well, but Queensland have had a little luck. But you've got to put yourself in a position to receive it. And they've had 2 opportunities to cross the stripe, and they've done that.
Steve Mortimer. Pat Jarvis. Good run from Jarvis. Unloads too, back to Mortimer. Comes on to Noel Cleal. Running with a lot of power, Noel Cleal. He's tried hard, and he's normally a very big kicker of the ball, and of course those drop kicks have been a little disastrous for New South Wales because of the wet and heavy conditions. Wayne Pearce also played very strongly. Royce Simmons has had a good game, and he's second representative game for New South Wales.
Well, he's always hanging in there somewhere, and I think in a couple of occasions last year that he was a little unlucky not to do a little extra as far as representatives concerned.
14 points to 2, Queensland lead New South Wales, but the Blues still trying. Pat Jarvis.
But tonight Queensland outplayed them, and Beetson's outcoached them.
Kick from Mortimer taken by Scott. Molly Lewis in the way there, but Scott took it well. He's played well. Lewis has hurt his knee there too as he went down, or his groin. Play centered on the 22 as there's a facial, a mud pack. That'll do his looks plenty good. There's a little bit of a brawl going out over the hill too as the crowd have surged over the fence underneath the big scoreboard. New South Wales now just trying to get possession, but Wally Lewis has come up with it. They'll just play the timeout now. Well, Dowling must rate a fair chance at man of the match. He's had a big game, Dowling. Wally Lewis has also played very strongly. Ray Price has had a giant game for New South Wales. This is Bob Lidner at the dummy half. Crowd tonight 29,088, and I think that's a great effort under these conditions. Congratulations, Sydney. 29,088 people here to watch this game, and they've certainly been entertained with some great rugby league when you consider the conditions. Dave Brown comes back to Lewis again. Clearing kick. It's been the tactics of Queensland in the second half, and Jack has played well. Bochi's taken the ball well tonight. He returns it and chases it. Taken by Queensland. Drew Dowling. Almeninga. Just seconds left remaining now. Queensland, of course, have wrapped up the series, but the final game at Lang Park, well, the Pride will be played for there. The New South Wales Pride. The crowd counting down now. It's all over. Queensland have defeated New South Wales to the tune of 14 points to 2 at the Sydney Cricket Ground tonight. Score 14 points to 2. The penalties went to Queensland 6-5 and the scrums 10-9, so pretty even possession. And it's been a hard-fought match. Wally Lewis there with a nice moment with Eric Growth. Plenty of spirit, plenty of toughness, and some great football being played here tonight too. Steve Mortimer. He's played well, Steve Mortimer. This is his ground, the Sydney Cricket Ground. He loves it. Ray Price and Dowling, 2 men that have really given their all tonight for their state. And that's what rugby league is all about when you see that sort of thing happening after such a hard game. Mal Meninga swapping jumpers with Ross Conlon. Well, that's Andrew Farrer. There's Paul Vaughton, again a powerhouse for Queensland. Pedescu coming back. So Queensland has won. We'll be back in just a moment with the two Gibsons, Jack and Mike, for a summary of the match from the Sydney Cricket Ground.